Good evening and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. We're going to do one of the layouts from Christie's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. And I'm also going to combine it with Grab 5. I've been doing that with her sketches. And of course, I have not been able to do all of the sketches, but I've done a few. This is the first time I've actually participated in this, and I love it. I just often don't have time to, oops, I smeared something on my desk. I just often don't have time to do it when it's happening, or I don't get started. I don't know what all my excuses are, but anyway. Okay, tonight I am going to do, for 30 Days of Sketches, I'm going to do day 16, and I know that it's already today. It was 19, but I like this sketch, and I decided it would work with some photos that I had. And it is by Angie Saylor Aliskik. Angie, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. I'm probably not the first one who ever has, but anyway, Angie Saylor Aliskik. And she's got this, it looks like it's mixed media, the circle, but I'm using paper for mine. I am going to do some mixed media, but I'm using paper for my circles. I'm going to have 2 photos instead of 1. I'm going to have 3 little strips of paper instead of 2 strips in the photo strip. I am going to have a big embellishment here. I'm going to have an embellishment down here. And then she had her title right here, but I'm going to put my title over here where that 3rd embellishment cluster was. So let's see what we can get done with that. The first thing I've got to do is take everything off, because I am going to do some splatters on this, and I'm going to do them so that they have time to dry while we do a couple of other things. I've done a few things in advance. I backed my photos. I kind of tied my circles together, but I want to do these splatters, and they dry pretty quickly, so I want to do them, and I want to be able to clean up my mess. So let's see, where do I really need to see them? Ooh, that was a big one. I do want some big ones. This is kind of getting thick, I think. You have to sling it to get it to come off. This is so pretty. It's a shimmers in this dark, almost, I don't even know what to call it. All right, I think that's around where I need it. All right, and then I need to get these cleaned up, because I don't want it to stain my mat. These big ones are going to be hard to dry in the amount of time that we have, but anyway. Earlier I was playing with that shimmers, and I was shaking it, and I didn't have the lid on it, and I pressed, it's actually a spray, and I pressed the spray a little bit, and then I had it all over my hand. I've got to clean this up so it doesn't stain my mat. Sorry about that. Get that put away, and then dry it, because I sure don't want to mess anything up on a wet mat. Okay, while that's drying, got a couple of things to do, and I want to do the twist. I love, love, love the twist tonight. One of my friends put this on Facebook, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read what I wrote. What she put on Facebook was, "Our prayers may be awkward, our attempts may be feeble, but since the power of prayer is in the one who hears the prayer and not in the one who says it, our prayers do make a, Let me just start over. Our prayers may be awkward, our attempts may be feeble, but since the power of prayer is in the one who hears the prayer and not in the one who says it, our prayers do make a difference. That's a quote from Max Lucado. And so my thoughts are, and the way I would extend that is, the power of prayer, if the power of prayer was up to us, we would be in trouble. There is no doubt I would be in trouble. If we had to state our prayers perfectly and they had to be, this perfect prayer in order for God to hear them and to answer them, we would be in trouble. But thank goodness that's not the way it is. As a matter of fact, the Bible tells us that in our imperfection, his perfection shows through. And so the one who hears our prayer is perfect. He knows our needs before we even ask him. He just wants to hear us call on him. He understands our heart. When we don't even understand it ourselves, God understands our heart. Sometimes we don't even know what to ask. And the Bible says the Spirit groans for us when we do that. So he is all powerful. He has all authority. And so answered prayers are in his hands. So no matter how feeble or just uncomfortable and awkward our prayers may feel, we need to pray. We need to pour our heart out to God, because the power is in the one who answers them, not in the one who says them. I loved that thought. I absolutely loved that thought. Okay, these are starting to dry. The little ones are dry, but those big ones are not. They are not. And I doubt seriously that I can, but I love them that way because they look almost like enamel dots. Yeah, I don't want to pick it up. I want it that way. I'm just going to leave it. Maybe I can do a little without making too big of a mess. Probably not. Okay, well, I do have another thing. Let me set this aside. I've got a thing or two that I can do. So the first thing I can do is I want to build this little set of strips. And I think the way I want my strips, I put some lines so I'd know where to put these. So I think the way I want my strips is like this. Let's see, I want that to the outside. So let's just put a little line of glue. Woo, that's it. One crooked line of glue, I'm telling you. Okay, let's put this on there and line it up where I had it, which was right up here. You know what, though? I wanted the brown on top of this one. That's what I wanted. Let's just take that glue off of there, because I'm going to stick with the plan. I'm not going to alter it. I wanted the brown. Is that what I wanted? You know what? I think I had it right the first time. Yeah, I did. Okay, we'll do it over, do it over. Let's see. I want it on this side. I had it right the first time. So run that glue down there. Okay, now back to the plan. Just want it to overlap a little, not very much. That doesn't look very straight, but don't do that. Okay, and then I want the brown one to overlap this one. So we'll put that line of glue, and I know that's in the right place. I'm not going to wipe it off. I don't know about y'all, but we're having winds. I don't know where you live. I know we've just had these crazy weather patterns lately, but we've always had crazy weather patterns. My cousin who lives in New Mexico had posted a picture on Facebook of the dirt. I mean, it's just sand and dirt there. It's yucky. We used to live there too. It's so yucky. But anyway, she posted a picture of what it looked like there. And then my brother and sister-in-law, they live in Amarillo, and it's just horrible up there. And we used to live there too. It's horrible, horrible up there. And then I saw a picture in Lubbock where my cousins live. And I mean, literally, when I lived in Lubbock, I taught homebound for Southeast Lubbock County Co-op. And so I had to go to several little rural schools around Lubbock to teach the students that were on homebound. One day I was going from Lubbock to Slayton, which was a 2-lane road back then. I'm sure it's probably 4-lane now, but it was busy back then. And Lubbock is the hub for everything in that area. So semis, I mean, that road was really busy even back then. And I had to, of course, go to Slayton and check in that morning and then start seeing my students. And the wind was blowing so hard, and it's nothing but plowed farmland along there. And the wind was blowing so hard, and there was so much dirt in the air that I literally could not see out my windows anywhere. I mean, the only way I could describe it was that I felt like I was in a paper bag, because that's all I could see. Out any of my windows in any direction, all I could see was just like a paper bag, like they had just covered my windows with paper bag. There was so much dirt in the air. And the picture that was on Facebook today of Lubbock looked just like that. It was some little road, outside of Lubbock that they had it posted on, and it was just like what I was trying to drive in that day. I was scared to death. I was afraid to stop because I was afraid, a semi was going to run over me, and I was afraid to keep going because I was afraid I was going to run into someone else. And you couldn't see the line in the middle of the road at all. So I pulled over to the edge of the road where I could feel where it went off to the shoulder, and I just kept my tire where I could feel going on and off of that to know that I was on the road but not over the line in the middle, and just was literally praying that, no one would hit me and I wouldn't hit anyone else. It was horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And that's the kind of winds that they're having now. And it's, it's that time of year when the fields are plowed, and it's going to be bad. So I hope the winds, and I used to teach U.S. history, and I can remember teaching about the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, and this is really what reminds me of those pictures that I would show the kids of the Dust Bowl. Okay, I think that is about what I want. Let's see if I can move that over just a little. I think that's about what I want. I found on my Cricut, I just looked up concentric circles and cut it out of 2 different colors. I don't know if you can see that, but this one's a little bit lighter, and then this is the darker, which are both the colors in these. And so I cut 2 sets because I've got to do another one of these layouts. I've got to do one for my daughter's kiddo's scrapbook. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, I think. And I think that's about where I need it. Let's see. I'm using, I want that. I think about like that, maybe up just a little more. I'm using, this is Oh Holy Night, a little ephemera pack from Simple Stories. And it had Mary and Joseph with Mary on the donkey. It had a couple of the sprigs, and then it had this that I've been working on. Had this little Bethlehem, and then it also had this little label thing. And I put the red on it because I'm trying to pull the red. I'm going to use this piece of wood veneer that's painted with this really pretty red paint. My daughter-in-law, that was on my Christmas present. And actually, I have 2 of them. And so I'm going to use that for the title. And then somewhere I've got the star. What do I do with the star? That goes with this. That's not the one I had, but it's fine. I probably dropped the one I had, but this one will be fine. I want the star up here. And then I've got 2 pictures. There's the star I was using. I think I like this one better. They aren't much different, but just a tiny little bit. I want the star up there. And then I've got 2 pictures that I'm going to use instead of one. I started to say her skit. Her sketch just had 1 picture, and it looks like maybe it's a 5x7 possibly. Maybe not, maybe just a 4x6. But I need to use 2. This is my son and 2 of my grandsons, well, actually a 3rd one, and then the other 3 are sitting right down here. And this is Christmas morning, and he's talking them through the Christmas story, and I'm sure he has pictures or something there on his phone. And he's talking them through the Christmas story. We had been to candlelight service and everything the night before, but he was doing a little thing before we started opening gifts and everything. Look at him holding his daddy's hand. All right, and then I want to cover, since there's just part of him and you can't even tell who it is hardly, I'm going to cover that with this other picture. We always do a picture in front of the Christmas tree with the 6 boys on Christmas morning. Well, this is the worst picture we have ever done. They're usually really cute, and this one's terrible, but it's the only one I have, so it's one I'm going to use. All right, so I'm kind of thinking we could pull this, I don't know, down a little more. Maybe not. All right, I think we're going to just leave well enough alone and do it right about there. Okay, so we're not ready for that. Not quite ready for those. So let's get our circles anchored, and I think I'm going to leave them right there. But let's get them anchored. I'm just going to put some glue under them. I just cut a couple of little pieces of paper, one on the bottom and one on the top, just to glue these circles together so that I could pick them up and work with them. Let's just hold that down a second. There we go. And then I can take my little fine tip glue, and I am not going to glue these circles down everywhere. I'm just going to anchor them. I am not even going to try to do that. I'm just going to anchor them in some places. So back to this crazy weather. How is it doing where you're from? I know up north they're having some kind of unusual snowstorms and things like that. And then on top of all that, my dad and stepmom lived in Borger, Texas, which is up in the Panhandle, kind of the eastern side of the Panhandle, I guess, because it's not too far from Oklahoma. But they have had wildfires. Of course, our fire danger has been on high alert around here. We do get wildfires, and it's dry. We've been pretty dry. Like for several years, we've been drier than normal. So, but just praise God, we haven't had wildfires yet. And of course, you know, California is just practically burned up this year, some areas. But we just don't normally have the winds. So it really does remind me of the pictures that I saw and that I would show my students about that Dust Bowl of the 30s. This is kind of monotonous, but it has to be done. I got my puzzled swap yesterday. It was really good. You know, the thing I miss about not doing swaps every week is not getting Happy Mail as often. But I mean, I'm glad. I like this plan. I really do, because I was spending all of my time making swaps, and I wasn't getting any layouts made because my time for scrapbooking is pretty limited. And so I just wasn't getting any layouts done. Last year, I think I had a goal of 100 layouts, and I bet I didn't do 50. I did like, I don't know how many. I did over 50 embellishments by the time, because I think I did every single, well, we might not have had that many because we don't do them in December, but I did every weekly embellishment, and I did the main swaps, and I did the Forever Faith swaps. I don't think I missed any. So it was kind of, I would just spend all my time making embellishments for swaps, and then I just didn't get near enough layouts made. So this year I'm concentrating a little more on getting my layouts made. All right, I was going to put this little embellishment up on foam, but since my title is going to overlap it, I'm not. I am going to need to, I'm going to put one of those sprigs under this, so I need to not press this one side down too hard. Need to leave that up for just a minute to get my little sprig under there where I need it. But let's get Mary and Joseph on. This is the middle of this set of circles. And back to these circles, I just did a thing on my Cricut that was concentric circles. You know, I think I am going to put them up on foam. And I did the big set out of this lighter color. I did them at 9 inches, and I did the darker set at 8 inches. And then that gave me some really good varying sizes, and then I liked the alternating colors so that they weren't all the same color. Okay. So I may regret this because I kind of wanted them under the edge of the photo. So I think I'm going to move that one piece of foam up, if I can get it off of there, so that I can still put, I'm going to split that also, so that I can still put that under the edge of the photo if I want to. So let's do that. And you know what? I think that's all I need, actually. Okay, so we can put that like that. And then our star right up there. Okay. Anyway, my cousin lives in Borger. I have several cousins, actually, that live in Borger. And they were having really bad wildfires. And they live on the west side of Borger, and that's where the wildfires were. So we were waiting to hear from them. My sister had tried to call them and didn't get an answer. And so anyway, we heard from them today. And the wind kind of shifted directions and took it away from them. So that was very much a blessing. Okay, so there's that. And then we've got to get, and do I want this under them or do I want this under here? That's a good question. Let's just look at it and see. I think I want it under them, but it needs to be flat. Yes, it does. Yep, I think I want it under them. Like that. We can go ahead and put our star up there. Now we could put our star on a little bit of foam. Come off of there. Thank you. I still have green paint on me from my shenanigan earlier. Okay. I almost put that too high, but that's okay. The stars are right there. Okay, this is going right down there in the corner. And that's where I'm going to write just, you know, Christmas 2021, Uncle Josh telling the Christmas story before we open gifts. That's all it needs. Okay, then I think I may just put the pictures under the embellishment instead of the other way around. So let's see how that works. Yep, I think that's what I'll do. I think that's what I'll do. Yep, okay. So let's get this one on there. Okay, this one I can just freely glue down. And I'm going to let it overlap my strips a little. Okay, I think I'll leave it just like that. Now this one, I'm not going to put glue right here. I really hate to glue or tape one picture to the other. That way, if we ever wanted to take these apart, if we need, for whatever reason, it just damages the photo so much. So I'm going to just glue this one side. And it'll hold, so. I just want to cover that hand is the main thing. There we go. Oh, I didn't tell you. This is, if I can find the name of it, Frosted Bow. And it's called sparkle spray, but I daub it more, splatter it more than I spray it. It's beautiful though. I know you can't see it probably in the video, but it just has, it's got that shimmers and it is so pretty. Okay, so this is going right down here. And then this little sprig is going to go in behind it. So I need to save some place to stick it in. That's textured, so I need good glue there. Okay. I loved this little Oh Holy Night. I think I got it at Scrapbook Convention last year, but and I bought 2 of them, knowing that I would probably need both of them for, 2 sets of layouts for the different books. I think I want that on top of that and under, come here, under that. There we go. Okay, there's that. Now, I think the very last thing is to put our title on here, and that is wood veneer, but normally this Nouveau does a good job on it. So I'm gonna just load it up and trust it. Especially on these wider spots. All right, about ready to test it out. So we are doing 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life, and this is day 16. And I'm also doing Grab 5 from Ginger's Corner, and I will put information about both of those down in the description box. I've got to stand up to see if I get this somewhat straight, but I think I'm going to leave it just like that. It's not really written straight, so, but I'll put descriptions down there, and you really need to go on, if you're not members of those Facebook groups, you really need to do that, because there's so much neat inspiration on those. One other thing I was going to tell you that I did is I used iced spruce in my distress ink, and my small little ink brush, and I just did this and then went around the edges to give it kind of this cloudy, distressed look around the edges. I was going to use my bigger one and do some out in here and then do the splatters, and then when I decided to use 2 pictures and so much of the surface was used, I decided against the ink blending out in the middle, and just went with the splatters. But anyway, the take 5 or the grab 5 that I did was, let's see, grab 5, I did only bought embellishments, store-bought embellishments. This, only store-bought embellishments. I did use Christmas paper. These 2 are both Christmas paper. I used red cardstock. This is red cardstock, and I matted this in red cardstock. I used splatters, my green splatters, and I used wood veneer. So that's 5. I used foam tape, and I'm going to do a handwritten journaling, so they're really more than that. But, so yeah, I guess that's it. All right, thanks for joining me. Have a blessed day, and be a blessing to someone else.